Hi everybody, I'm Late's Camera Jackson. It's Sunday, October 21st, 2018. Welcome to a new episode of LCJ Live. Thanks so much for being here on this Sunday morning. Coming up, I went to see Justin Timberlake in concert last night. I'll have my review of JT in concert, plus a kickoff to one of the biggest film festivals in upstate New York. FilmColumbia kicks off tonight with a movie that made a lot of money at the box office this weekend. Plus, they've got some big movies ahead for the week. I'll tell you what I'll be reviewing and what I might be reviewing. I'll explain that in a little bit. As always, send in your questions and comments. Really appreciate if you do that, because I'll read them right here live for you, right here on LCJ Live, as I do here every Sunday at noon Eastern. So, let's get to the box office. This is why I got this little pumpkin guy out here, because Halloween is your #1 movie in America with $77.5 million. That's the biggest open ever for a slasher movie. It's a horror movie. I think it's more of a suspense thriller, though. I know I've been saying that a lot with horror movies I've been seeing lately, like Get Out and now this. I think it's much more of a suspense thriller with some gore, but $77.5 million. Congratulations to Universal. That is tremendous for one of the best movies of the year. I didn't think I was going to say that coming out of Halloween or going into Halloween. Like, oh my gosh, this is going to be one of the best movies I've seen so far this year. But it is. I like stories where characters, actors have played certain characters 30, 40 years ago and they get to revisit them. Creed, Blade Runner 2049. Now Jamie Lee Curtis gets to do that with Laurie Strode here at Halloween. So that's just one aspect of this movie. It's the core aspect of the film, but there's so much else going on. It brings up commentary on what's going on in society today while also feeling like a great homage to the 1978 original Halloween. The performances are great. It is tense and intense. I love this movie. It is fantastic. Some of the scenes, especially with the teens, needed to be polished a little bit in the editing room, needed to be structured a little differently, but those are minor quibbles with a great movie, Halloween. I think people should go see it. If you're really hesitant, you have memories of the 1978 original, and you don't want them to be tarnished, don't worry. David Gordon Green, Danny McBride, Jamie Lee Curtis, and John Carpenter, and producer Jason Blum, all did a great job with it. They got it right. Halloween is fantastic. $77.5 million. Now, here's the thing. 2 weeks ago in Philly, I was here on LCJ Live talking about how Venom broke the October opening weekend box office record with $80 million. Here we are still in October, Halloween with $77.5 million. That's really close to 80. That's so close to 80 where Monday we could see the actuals and a new headline that says that Halloween not only surpassed 80 million, but actually beat Venom's opening weekend. I could totally see that happening because 77.5 is so close to 80. So watch out around, 4 or 5 o'clock Eastern tomorrow when the actuals come out. Obviously, Halloween could go lower. It could stay at 77.5 or go up a little bit, but not far enough. I could see a headline that says Halloween broke the October all-time open weekend record that Venom would have had for just 2 weekends with more than its $80 million. We will have to see, but congratulations to Universal, who kind of needs it because First Man has not been a huge hit for Universal over the last 2 weekends. It has been a critical darling, but not necessarily an audience darling. We'll talk a little bit about First Man in just a second, but Universal needed this. A Star is Born, also one of the best movies of the year, stayed in second place with another $19.3 million. And Venom dropped to third, $18.1 million. Kind of expected Venom to go 113. I think A Star is Born is still going to build and build over the next several weekends. Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween. Families needed something to see. They still need something for a couple more weekends until The Nutcracker and then The Grinch. Goosebumps 2, not a bad drop, staying in fourth place with $9.7 million. And then First Man rounds out your top 5 with $8.6 million. That's nearly a 50% drop. I don't think anybody should have gone into First Man thinking this was going to be a box office juggernaut. White Obama says, what kind of shirt is that? It's just a plain old yellow shirt, man, but it's bright and sunny for today. I think nobody should have expected First Man to make so much money because it's not that kind of movie. La La Land became that kind of movie because it was released right in the heart of awards season, and it had much more mass appeal than First Man does, and it built and built and built for Damien Chazelle. This kind of movie is a little more niche. But audiences may have been steered away from First Man for a couple reasons. Number one, we've had a lot of space movies. Number two, the flag controversy, though that's irrelevant. Number three, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes, and maybe people think, gosh, I'd rather do this on DVD than drive to the theater, sit through the trailers, and then go through 2 hours and 20 minutes. So there's a lot here. I could totally see First Man being a big DVD play, especially depending on how many Oscar nominations it gets. If it's a Best Picture nominee, if Claire Foy gets a Best Supporting Actress nomination, which she deserves, if Ryan Gosling gets in the Best Actor conversation, which I think he really deserves, Damien Chazelle for directing, the visuals, the sound, all of that. Depending on how many Oscar nominations it gets, if Universal releases this on DVD in the middle of January, it'll be the biggest rental of whatever week it comes out. I think there's no question about that. People will catch up on this movie before Oscar night. May not make all of its money in theaters, but it will continue to make money via rentals, video on demand, streaming, all of that. I think it'll be a big play, maybe in the middle of January. We go to the bottom 5 in this week's top 10, but you can't really say bottom for a movie that expanded to so many theaters and did pretty well. In 6th place, The Hate You Give, $7.5 million in its third weekend and biggest wide release expansion so far. This is a very good movie. It is timely, it is relevant, it is raw. Some issues with some of the scenes, the ending's a little iffy, but The Hate You Give is absolutely worth your time. Amandla Stenberg is terrific in a breakthrough performance. She is fantastic. Good cast as well. Another common movie, Smallfoot in 7th, followed by Night School, Bad Times at the El Royale in 9th. That really hasn't made a whole lot of money. And then rounding out your top 10 is a film that also expanded this weekend, the Robert Redford movie, The Old Man and the Gun, with $2.1 million. It's up to a little more than $4 million over the last 4 weeks. I wish I liked this movie more. Does it feel like a Robert Redford tribute? I guess. But it's not a showcase performance. Don't be surprised if he does not get Best Actor nominations. If we might be talking about this as his final role of his career, maybe Clint Eastwood might be thinking the same thing for The Mule, which is coming out in December. That might get the slot that Robert Redford could have had if his performance in The Old Man and the Gun was more showy and stronger, and if the movie had any surprises whatsoever. So, Old Man and the Gun in 10th. Several movies opened up in limited release on Friday. One of them is Jonah Hill's directorial debut called Mid-90s, which opened with about $250,000 in just 4 theaters. That's a very strong open for A24 and for Jonah Hill as a first-time director. Mid-90s expands nationwide on Thursday, starting at 5 p.m., and I will be seeing it this Thursday to have my review up for that. Another movie that opened up in limited and did pretty well, Can You Ever Forgive Me, opened up in 5 theaters, making $150,000. That is the Melissa McCarthy movie. I am seeing this tonight because it kicks off FilmColumbia 2018. Award season is here. Festival season is here. And my goodness, we are kicking things off at FilmColumbia tonight with Melissa McCarthy. I have been saying for I don't know how many years, we saw her in Bridesmaids do a dramatic scene. We saw her in St. Vincent do a great dramatic scene, and I think a principal's office. And now we finally get the dramatic role that I've been waiting for. I've been saying for years, I think she can pull off a drama. I think she can pull off a drama. And we're going to finally see tonight if she really can pull off a drama with Can You Ever Forgive Me, also starring Richard E. Grant. It is from Fox Searchlight. They are going to push her hard for Best Actress nomination to get her back to the Academy Awards. FilmColumbia 2018 is kicking off with a great one, hopefully, with Can You Ever Forgive Me tonight. I'll talk a little bit more about some of the other FilmColumbia movies in just a second. I do want to mention another film that opened up in limited release this weekend called What They Had, starring Hilary Swank and Blythe Danner and Robert Forster and Michael Shannon. Didn't do quite as well as the other two. If you have several movies opening on the same day in just New York and Los Angeles, some audiences are going to flock to one, others are going to flock to another, and in this case, not a lot of people saw this one, just $18,000 in 4 theaters. Decent per-screen average, but not nearly as strong as the other two. Maybe that'll expand over the next several weeks. We'll see how that does. So, FilmColumbia is going to be big this week. It is in Chatham, New York at the Crandall Theater. This is the 19th year of this festival, and they get some of the biggest movies every year. I saw Spotlight there. Foxcatcher, Jackie, Lion, Loving, Call Me By Your Name last year. James Ivory was there. 3 Billboards, I, Tonya. The list goes on and on. So Can You Ever Forgive Me is tonight. A couple films I've already seen are actually going to be there later this week called A Private War with Rosamund Pike, which is a good movie, and Wildlife with Jake Gyllenhaal and Carey Mulligan are playing, along with Widows. Yes, Widows on Friday night. Viola Davis, Daniel Kaluuya, Liam Neeson, Colin Farrell, Robert Duvall, Cynthia Erivo, Michelle Rodriguez, and Brian Tyree Henry, and more and more and more. This is a huge cast and a very unconventional festival movie because it's a revenge heist movie, action film. You don't often see those at film festivals aimed at an older audience, but FilmColumbia is going to have it on Friday night. And then on Saturday, it's their annual Saturday Night Sneak. So what they do every year is... Bob Hall just woke up and he can't believe he missed my favorite show, LCJ Live. Thank you for saying it's your favorite show, but you haven't missed anything. You're about halfway into it here today on LCJ Live. What they do every year at FilmColumbia with the Saturday Night Sneak is you buy tickets and you have no idea what the movie is until the curtain opens. Isn't that amazing? Previous few years, it's been Loving. Lady Bird, it was last year. Dallas Buyers Club, I was there for that a few years earlier. Spotlight was the Saturday Night Sneak the year that came out. So they've had some big ones. I have a few guesses as to what it could be this year. I had 4 choices. I've kind of narrowed it down to 2. One of them is The Frontrunner, which is Hugh Jackman as Gary Hart. I really want to see that because it's my man Hugh Jackman. The other one is Green Book, which is getting a lot of attention. Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali. I'll take either of those. I'll take any big award season movie that I can see with this Saturday Night Sneak at FilmColumbia. I hope it's The Frontrunner, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to make an official prediction before Saturday night on which movie I think it is for the Saturday Night Sneak. But again, I have no idea what it is until the curtain opens. So it's really cool what they do. That sneak, by the way, is sold out already, but there are still tickets available for many other movies. Go to FilmColumbia.org if you're in the upstate New York area and you want to see a big movie this week. They've also got a lot of documentaries, foreign films submitting for the Academy Awards, local independent films, great variety. FilmColumbia.org, also CrandallTheater.org will get you where you need to be. At Bob Hall says Steve McQueen is a master. We'll find out. Steve McQueen, the director of Widows, also did 12 Years a Slave. So we'll see what he does with Widows on Friday night. So lots of reviews coming this week. Tomorrow, my review of Can You Ever Forgive Me? Thursday, I'll have my reviews of Hunter Killer, which I'm seeing this week, and Mid-90s. And then I'm seeing Widows Friday. I'll have my review of that on Saturday. And then whatever the Saturday Night Sneak is, I will get to talk about it right here next Sunday on LCJ Live. That'll be really exciting. What's up, Rat EX Eva? Thanks for being here on LCJ Live. So, Justin Timberlake came to my neck of the woods last night, Albany, New York, Times Union Center, with his Man of the Woods tour. He was here 4 years ago. I didn't get a chance to see him in concert then, but I watched the Netflix concert doc, Justin Timberlake and the Tennessee Kids, which showed the concert of that tour, directed by the late Jonathan Demme, which was released on Netflix just about 2 years ago, and it was really good. I found a new appreciation for Justin Timberlake, and watching that, Trolls was out around the same time, and I gotta say, Mr. Timberlake put on quite a good show. It was about a 2-hour show. Tickets said that the show was really going to start at 7:30. Timberlake didn't come out till 9 because they had a DJ there and they had a warm-up guy performing for quite a while. So I was a little surprised that we had to wait till 9 o'clock for Timberlake. But he came out, did a show in under 2 hours, and he performed all the hits from the new Man of the Woods CD, as well as some of the Suit and Tie Mirrors type stuff. And yes, Can't Stop the Feeling did end the show, along with some of his classics, Cry Me a River, some others, Sexy Back, others like that. He knows how to do the dances. He knows how to do the moves. He sung a lot too. He is a showman. You saw him on the Super Bowl halftime show, and he didn't just sing. He did the dances. He spoke to the crowd. He went into the crowd. He took the selfie with that kid. There were so many selfies he took last night during 2 of his songs. Him singing into the mic and just taking selfies with people in the crowd. It was fantastic. The lights, the displays, they had a campfire going on one of the stages. He was terrific. And what's really interesting is that on a Saturday night, this crowd was made up of just about anybody of any age was there. There were 65, 70-year-old women. There were 35, 40-year-old women. There were 25-year-old couples. And there were kids. Because Justin Timberlake speaks to so many different demographics through trolls, through his music, through the nostalgia factor of the Mickey Mouse Club, NSYNC, and all of that. He speaks to so many. And really, it's very rare to get an artist today who is able to pull that off successfully with no controversial aspects right now of that whatsoever. I applaud Justin Timberlake for the show last night. He and the Tennessee Kids put on a great one. The crowd was into it. Hundreds of people down in the pit. Everybody up in the stands, dancing, singing, having a good time. And he also showcased a lot of his backup singers, the members of the Tennessee Kids, at various points during the show as well. He knows how to play the game. He knows how to put on a good show. So congratulations to Justin Timberlake, and thank you for stopping by. He's at Madison Square Garden tomorrow night. I believe he's doing one show Monday, one show Tuesday. Thank you for stopping in Albany, New York, and seeing us. What are you dressing up as for Halloween? I've got a couple comments there. I don't know. You're just going to have to wait and see. May have something up my sleeves, up these yellow sleeves. Find out what I'm going to be for Halloween. We'll have to see. We still got a bit of a ways to go, and I've got so many movies to see before Halloween actually gets here. So, once again, Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis. The new movie is your number one movie, $77.5 million. FilmColumbia kicks off tonight with Can You Ever Forgive Me? And they've got more movies this week, including A Private War and Wildlife, which I recommend, and Widows on Friday, plus their Saturday night sneak. If you want details, go to FilmColumbia.org. Again, I'll have my reviews. Can You Ever Forgive Me? Hunter Killer, mid-90s, Widows later this week, and next Sunday, the Saturday night sneak, whatever it is. I will be talking about it first with you here live on LCJ Live at noon Eastern. All right. Next Sunday, we'll also talk about the box office, see how mid-90s does an expansion. Hunter Killer, the new Johnny English movie with Rowan Atkinson, is also opening up. And we'll preview some big movies coming out in what should be a jam-packed November. If you want my picks from Timberlake concert last night, an exclusive video that I shot of him as well, go to my Instagram at LightsCamJackson, as well as Twitter, LCJ Reviews. And I am going to post a full review of what I thought of Timberlake's concert last night, coming up in just a little bit at lights-camera-jackson.com. I'm LCJ. Thank you so much for watching today's new episode of LCJ Live. I'll see you back here next Sunday at noon Eastern. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe and watch the latest videos. I'll see you next Sunday at noon Eastern for another episode of LCJ Live.